Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Racham Padash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great Muslim who rule well, pushing this 100% truth of the gospel, waking up and sealing the elect of the nation of Israel through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. And salutation to you sincere Akimat that are pushing this gospel in righteousness and sincerity, risking your lives and your freedom to do so. Right, so first of all, I'm going to get the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Right, and what we're going to go into today is, today is that day in which the heathens gather together to celebrate Halloween. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get the etymology of the word Halloween. Before we just do a quick background, into the history of this holiday. Right, so this is the word Halloween, and it reads Halloween, also Halloween, because this is a compound word that's going into, and what was originated in 1781. In a Scottish context, the words and the magical lore about the dates were popularized by Burns' poem. And he attached a footnote explaining it, but it probably dates to the 17th century in Scotland and is attested as the name of a tune in 1724. Alright, let me just go into just jump down and go into the etym, and it reads, it is a Scottish shortening of All Hallow Even, Eve of All Saints, last night of October, and that's basically what the word goes into, Halloween, holy evening. Hallow meaning holy, and in meaning eve. So our hallowed evening, or all saints evening, because that's what the word goes back to. Because it is named after a Christian holiday in which they celebrated the saints. All the saints that are all the so-called saints. It's a Catholic holiday when they celebrate all the so-called saints that basically are sent up into heaven. Okay, that's what the word goes into. So I'll keep reading. And it reads, the last night of October in the old Celtics calendar, where it was Old Year's Night, a night for witches, a pagan holiday, giving a cursory baptism. So in other words, this holiday was celebrated by the heathen, and it has aspects of paganism involved in it. So just from that alone, you shouldn't have anybody that consider themselves a Christian, whether you're into this plantation Christianity madness or you're a Hebrew Israelite, this should be enough evidence for you not to be celebrating this holiday, right? But here at Great Wisdom, we like to prove everything without a shadow of a doubt, as the scripture says, prove all things, hold fast to that which thou hast learned. So what I'm going to go into this deeper, go into the history of this holiday, just to prove without a shadow of a doubt that this is a pagan holiday. Because even if you go into the scriptures, from Genesis to Revelation, from A to Z, flip through the whole book, you will never see the Most High ever tell our people that they should that they should dress up in all kinds of ridiculous costumes, dress up in all kinds of various costumes and start going from house to house, asking for candy or all these other things that these heathens do during Halloween. Okay, because we have our own hallowed days. We have our own days in which we celebrate, in which we have to celebrate, and these days, this Halloween is not one of them. Alright, so let me just quickly go into a brief summary of the history of Halloween. And it reads, Halloween is a holiday celebrated each year on October 31st, which is right now today. And Halloween 2020 will occur on Saturday, October 31. The tradition originated with the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, where people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as a time to honor All Saints, and that's where the term Halloween comes from, this All Saints Day. All Saints Day incorporated some of the traditions of Samhain, and this is a common trend you see, with these Christian holidays, and they incorporate, That's the nice thing that Esau puts on it. It's That's the next thing that Esau puts on it. Using incorporates, they aren't taking this pagan religion and putting it into Christianity, even though the scriptures clearly tell you, learn not the ways of the heathen. And we'll also get all these things I'm talking about. All right. Let's see, in the 18th century, Pope Gregory designated November 1st as a time to honor All Saints. Soon, All Saints Days incorporated some of the traditions of Samhain. The evening before was known as All Hallows Eve, and later Halloween. Over time, Halloween evolved into a day of activities like trick-or-treating, carving jack-o'-lanterns, festive gatherings, donning costumes, and eating treats. We could also go into all these traditions that are part of Halloween. Because first of all, most of these traditions that you see in Halloween, they came from that Celtic tradition of Samhain, which goes back to human sacrifice, goes back to kidnapping, goes back to maiming people and basically doing all kinds of wickedness. And that's where you get all these things from, like bobbing for apples, that trick or treat, that carving actual those carving pumpkins. And if you go into the history and go into what or where they originated from, you will find that they want as, let's say, they want as PG, or they want as acceptable as acceptable of form for the family as they make it out to be. And this is the confusion that you see in Esau's kingdom. Alright, these people, especially these plantation Christians, they will claim that they're serving the Most High, but they will incorporate all these pagan religions, all these wickedness into their own, into their worship for the Most High, which will lead me once again to Amos chapter 5 verse 21, and I read, and I continue from 22. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy viols. And these Christians, they wonder why the Most High keeps on sending all these plagues and this death upon them. When you do this kind of shit, you mix, you mix the ways of the heathen with the ways of the most high, and you don't even do the ways of the Most High perfectly. But of course, you will do the ways of the heathen perfectly. Yeah, sorry about that. I was cut off. Alright. So what we are going into is this, Halloween madness. You got a lot of Christians that are celebrating this, thinking that, and even you tell our people about all these things, how they go back to paganism, how all these holidays that they're celebrating in this world, this confusion that Esau has created. They usually just brush it off because they still want to continue in this wickedness. Alright, so let me just, first thing I'll do, so what we'll do now is we'll get some precepts. So first of all, I'll go to Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 9. So this is the book of Deuteronomy 18 verse 9, and it reads, when thou art come into the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. Right, and granted that the Irish, they were also Jake, they were also Israelites, but that does not matter, because what they were celebrating, that Halloween, it was basically a pagan holiday, to reverence spirits, because it was done in reverence of spirits and other gods that were not Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. The scriptures has already clearly stated that all the gods of the nations are idols, but it's only the Most High, because He is the one that created the heavens and the earth. And even though we are outside of our heritage, we're not in the Holy Land right now, this still stands, of course. And I also go to the book of Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 2, because the scriptures are clear on this law. And this is the book of Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 2, and it reads, thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at the signs of them. Alright, so the Most High is telling us clearly that we should not go after the ways of the heathen, it's not just that we should not worship their gods, but also not learn their ways, So if this holiday has traces that goes back to paganism. That is proof right there that you should not be involved in it. Okay, that so this thing has roots that goes back to even just the trees, even just a small amount, a little bit, just going into idol worship. That means that you should not be involved in it, because we as Israelites, we have our own high holy days, alright. We have our own days that we celebrate, and this Halloween is not one of them, because this is a hidden holiday and we are not supposed to be involved in it. And as the scripture says, that we should warn our people of these things, okay, because we have some people that are ignorant of this fact that Halloween actually goes back to paganism, and they just think that it's good old harmless fun, but it's not. Alright, if you claim that you are a servant of Yahweh, if you claim that you are a believer, if you claim especially you are a Hebrew, like, you should not be celebrating this holiday. And what we are doing, what I am personally, I'm planning on doing this every holiday, until Yahweh comes back. Just bringing down this. I'm going to do the same thing again on Christmas Eve and on Christmas and on New Year as well, if we last to that time. So let me go to the book of Isaiah chapter 58. The first chapter. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and shew my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. And that's what we are doing, telling you, bringing out this history of Halloween, showing you that this is basically idolatry. So if you've been celebrating not just Halloween, but Christmas, because we'll get that one next, like I said before, New Year's, Easter, Valentine, your birthday, or basically any holiday that isn't written in the scriptures, you have to stop. Alright, that's wicked. Now, alright, now if you happen to get the day off from your work during these days, I'm not just saying that you should refuse it and insist that you work, but what I'm saying is that this is not that this in this Halloween, for example, now in this Halloween, that you shouldn't go dressing up like a pizza roll or a slutty nurse or the Avengers. I'll dress your children up the same way and start going door to door looking for candy. Alright, you won't see brothers in GMS holding camps, doing camp in Halloween costumes, because we don't celebrate these holidays. We don't celebrate the high holidays of Babylon. Our Most High commanded us that we should come out of the lifestyle and the mindset of Babylon, which Halloween will be a huge part of that mindset, because if you go into the statistics, Halloween is a huge day of in which these Babylon, in which these people that are of the world spend a lot of money on the ridiculous things that are in this Halloween. It's part of the consumerism. It's part of the consumerism or the consumer mindset that has been created in our people and the heathen alike on this, in Babylon. And if you also go into the history, that's at October 31st, that ending of October, starting of November, is considered to be a high spiritual day, in the history. Alright, so I'm just going to end this here. I'm going to give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rachak Wadash, and through the Spirit, I hope brothers are edified, your brothers and your sisters as well. And also Abad Babal, Shalom.